Mika.
Here, I'll hold the hat.
Just put it on.
There you go. It's
You
coming
can also
down.
take off his head if we need to.
There he goes.
He's got his arms okay?
That way it sticks.
Yeah, well, that's why I did it. Yeah. I'm going to start walking
Everybody,
around.
Tom Tiffany is here today.
The arms look good,
What do you
guys.
want to say to Tom Tiffany?
I love
Oh!
billionaires. We love billionaires. Tom Tiffany.
Hey, ho, ho! Tiffany has got to go.
Hi, how are you? Oh, good to see you.
It's not.
Well, our grandson and his wife, who lives in River Falls, and she was expecting her second child, and she was about to give birth, so he rushed her to the River Falls Hospital, and they declined her entry because they were full. So then they drove to Hudson, Wisconsin, tried to get into a hospital so she could give birth, and that hospital was full and they turned them away. Then they ended up in Shakopee, Minnesota, and they finally had space for her to give birth to their second child.
And they barely made it.
3 hospitals,
Yeah.
no room in the end.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Bible story.
I'm so thankful that she was born safely. Just made it to the hospital.
How's she doing? That you said was a year ago?
Yeah,
Yes.
we just celebrated her first birthday, a little redhead. She's doing very
She's
well.
a little redhead and a happy little child. So we made it.
TV many times.
I've been going to the
Actually, I'm doing puppet, right?
I will work my next job.
lovely day.
It is. I'm just visiting.
I'm with SEIU and part of the statewide effort to go
Could I interest you in a sign?
I'm here today because I am frustrated, like many of our healthcare workers are. You know, I was so disappointed in Republicans' vote for H.R. 1. You know, Medicare and Medicaid funding has been being cut for years, but this is by far like the biggest cut. It is going to cut over $1 trillion from Medicare and Medicaid over the next 10 years. And it hasn't even really kicked in yet. Like we said, the cuts are really not going to start kicking in until 2027. And, you know, we're seeing the impact of this already. You know, when Sacred Heart and St. Joe's closed, you know, that was a shock to everyone. But a huge reason for that was because they'd been losing money for a long time because they took care of the bulk of the patients who are on Medicaid and Medicare in this area. And now we're just struggling to keep up. You know, my colleagues at Mayo are doing an amazing job. You know, we're working overtime. We are putting patients in every available space. But as Cindy found out, you know, unfortunately, we don't have enough beds in this area now. Marshfield is in the same boat. So, you know, we need to make it clear to our representatives, whoever's going to represent us in Congress next year, that they need to make this a priority. Cutting health care is not helping anyone. This should not even be a partisan issue. Why are we not investing in this? So I'm just here speaking for myself that I am, you know, frustrated, and I want our representatives to stand up and take notice and start voting for the people and not for billionaires. Oh, yes. yes, elections. Elections coming up, as Cindy reminds me. We need to support candidates that are going to support healthcare and support the people. So whether it's Emily Berge or Rebecca Cook or Derek Van Orden has a change of heart and starts to vote for us, it should be a priority for any candidate. So thank you all, and I will pass it back to Cindy.
Thanks, Abby. That's Dr. Abby Lanou. She does all of our, she's our medical lead whenever we do the No Kings 1, 2, and 3. So she's out there making sure we all stay healthy everywhere, all the time. Yeah. Thanks for stepping up. Okay, the other two people we wanted to have talk to you were our two poll workers. I don't know if you guys noticed, Tom Tiffany came out a couple days ago and said he thought the FBI should keep investigating Wisconsin. And what he said we should do is we should go after the poll workers, keep checking them out, and prosecute them if Washington decided that's what we needed to do. Even though you guys know they've gone through this 6, 7, 8 times and it always comes out clean. So we wanted you to hear what it is to be a poll worker and to see what these guys are living through. And you guys remember the story about Ruby Freeman, right? You know what it's like when the whole force of the government comes down on you? So let's look at some of the people that make our elections possible here. And let's hear from them about what they're looking at right now with all these things Tom Tiffany is doing now. He's, God, a horrible choice for a governor. Okay, Mary Beth, if you want to come up?
There's several points that I want to make to Tom Tiffany. I am a poll worker in the state of Wisconsin, and I take issue with his accusations that there's a potential breach of public trust in past elections and the deteriorations of confidence in our voting procedures. This is merely a scare tactic for those of us that give our time to help voters do the right thing. Election workers in Wisconsin are dedicated and they are professional. We go through trainings, we get there early in the morning to help set up, and we leave late at night when we need to make sure all the procedures are in place before we can close the doors. Tom Tiffany,
Here, try and get in here.
election workers are your neighbors. They're your constituents. They're community members. The scare tactics you're using are against your people. We are here to protect the ballot and to defend democracy.
Yes.
There's no evidence in the state of Wisconsin of any widespread fraud. We implore you, Tom Tiffany, to keep your focus on your Wisconsin constituents' health care and well-being and continue to help Wisconsin thrive. My name is Deb Rail. I'm a poll worker. I went through all the training, and my first election was the 2024 presidential election. It was wild. I worked the American Legion polling site on Water Street, and I worked the the registration table with 3 or 4 other folks for 13 hours. And we were swamped. But the cool thing was, so many of our new registrants were young college students, wide-eyed, voting in their first presidential election. Yes. We congratulated all of them and thanked them for coming out. What I went home with was how reassured I was about our election process. There are checks, double checks, triple checks to make sure that that person standing in front of me is appropriately registered, is voting at the right polling site, gets to vote, and their vote is accurately processed. Along with all those absentee ballots in the Eau Claire County, I don't know about other counties, that come into the polling site and also have to be counted, checked, double checked, triple checked. It's an impressive process. The other thing that I really enjoy, and I have worked each election since that was available, and I know there are other folks who have worked polls for years, decades, and so I'm relatively new. But I'm standing next to someone who may have radically different political views than myself. But we share a common goal, and that's election integrity and accuracy. We have things in common. We work hard and we get it done. We get it done. It is unfathomable to me that someone can stand up and think that there is a problem with the Wisconsin election process. Please, to our elected officials, stop using our hard-earned tax dollars on this wild goose chase of election fraud. Use our tax dollars for things that we need, that we actually need, like healthcare, like food, like transportation, housing, education. That's where our tax dollars need to go. Thank you.
Cheer for all of us. Cheer for Grant and the puppet. Cheer for all the poor people that have got stuck holding up the signs. Thank our speakers. Thank our coalition partners. And hang around for a half hour and wave at people as we tear down and do the final interviews.
I'm a retired family physician, so I've had a lot of personal experience with healthcare and with folks who have a lack of healthcare. And I'm mainly here today because I'm currently a poll worker. Gone through all the mandatory training and all of that, and my first election was the 2024 presidential. And I was stationed on Water Street at the American Legion as my polling site, and it was wild. We were so busy, and myself and like 4 other poll workers, we worked the registration table, 13 hours. Registration. Most of the new registrants were college students. First presidential election. It was awesome. And I came away from that after witnessing all the checks, the double checks, the triple checks of getting it right to make sure that that human being who was standing in front of me was eligible to vote, got registered to vote, voted, and their vote was accurately counted. It was incredible. It was incredible. It was exciting and exhausting. So I don't know how anyone can accuse our Wisconsin voting system of having any fraud. There are so many checks and balances on our accuracy. And the cool thing about being a poll worker is that you're working together with people of all kinds of political opinions, but we have a common goal of getting it right and making sure it's accurate, and we work hard and we do it. It's cool. Super, super cool. I'm going to continue to do it, everyone. And in fact, the last time, we often have an observer, and I said, this looks so boring. He said, it's so boring. I've been doing this for years. I've never seen anything that made me nervous. They watch. There's always a watching.
So my issue of that goes back to.
I have very important jobs. So yeah, so like they were.
Yes, what do you hope that people
Thank you.
see or people think and seeing everyone out here?
That we're not alone. I think one of the benefits is you see all these people, many of whom their health care has been affected by the changes in government. Our premiums are skyrocketing. So people are really choosing food, gas, job, health care, daycare. They affect all of us. They affect all of us.